All right, so we're here with Justin Randall on the Entering the Sports World podcast. This is a former NCAA All First Team American and Conference Player of the Year. When he did turn pro, he played for three different teams, being Florence, Evansville, and Southern Illinois. He is a former All-Star as well in his rookie year. And then moving on to Lambton College, he's the head coach of the Lambton men's baseball team and a professor for the Sport and Rec program. Welcome to the show, Justin Randall.
Thanks for having me, Brett.
No problem. All right, so getting into this, was baseball always your passion, or did you want to play like other professional sports or dream of that growing up?
Honestly, when I was young, 7 or 8, I'll never forget, I was in my parents' kitchen, and they asked me, or they said I had to choose between baseball and hockey. And of course, I chose hockey. And then they said no. So I got pretty upset about it, and I didn't understand why. But I had to play baseball, even though I didn't. I chose hockey. But so I followed baseball. Grew up playing in Sarnia all through mosquito ball, all the way through midget. After midget, I went off to college in the States. I started out in Chicago, Illinois at a junior college, and I transferred over to college in Portland, Michigan for my second year. After junior college, I went to Ashland University, where I spent my educational career. I played for 2 years there. You've already made me blush with a few awards that I had. Once I graduated I had my undergraduate in phys ed. Just everything happens for a reason. Hitting coach that had been there for 20 years leaving. And while I was there, they offered a grad assistant position. So I was basically an assistant coach. And rather than pay, they paid for my master's degree, and that's when I got my master's in sport management. After that, no draft, never got drafted. Did well in college, like you had said, but no sniff of a draft or anything. So I just basically created an online resume and sent it out to every professional team I could, in which landed me a position with the Evansville Otters back in 2008.
I seen that you did have a tryout set to happen with the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. Do you want to talk about what happened there, or?
Sure, yeah, for sure. So professional baseball, especially in the league I was in, the Frontier League, it's and we just call it cutthroat, where if you're not performing, you're not there. They'll find someone else that'll do the job. So back in 2008, I did really well. Half, and you said I was an all-star. And then second half of the year, my body broke down. I didn't really understand the physical fitness portion of sport. I was good. I could always just hit. I usually one of the better players on the team. But I never had to work out. I never had to do any of that, which looking back is one of my biggest regrets, is not being stronger. So that second half of my first year of the professional season, my body broke down, and I think I hit about 200 in the second half, whereas the first half I hit 380. After that season, I had knee surgery, went back the following year, and wasn't quite ready. So I got sent home from there because I wasn't performing. Then I had to get ready, and then that's when I took a love to the gym and went back in 2010 and had a great year. Unfortunately, I tore a hamstring, which derailed most of the season. But because I did so well, I got invited to the Tampa Bay camp. Our manager actually called me and said, "You need to go to this camp. There's only 20 people from all over North America that are invited to the camp." So he said, "I suggest you go." So I went to the camp. Parents were great. They cared me. They made the arrangements for me. I got up. I drove to Detroit, to Tampa Bay, got a rental car. I drove to my hotel. I went to tryout. And then, so basically what they said is they would let everybody know how it went or how it goes. And I got a call a couple weeks later, basically saying like, oh, well, we're going to watch you next year. The next year came around, and that's when I caught a ball and ran into a wall and tore my ligament in my hands. That was the end of that.
Oh, so with that being a tough, what do you think being the biggest transition from NCAA to professional baseball would be for you, at least?
For me, honestly, job security. Like I said, in college when you're on the team, as long as you don't mess up, as in like anything attitude wise, grades or anything like that, you're on the team, right? No matter how poorly or how great you are, you're on the team. As soon as you get into pro ball, I played with guys that were just like me, that were undrafted free agents, and then I played with guys that were all the way up, double A, triple A, and the major league. But at that point, everybody's in the same position. The biggest difference was every day you went to the field, it was somebody different sitting next to you in the locker room. And it was always, I like to worry about stuff as much as I don't want to. But I'm a numbers guy. I was always going through my head about how many infielders do we have, how many outfielders do we have. Am I going to be the one to be cut, or could I be traded? Oh, I heard about a rumor. And I was a part of a few trades. That was quite interesting.
Yeah, you got to feel like the guy you're sitting beside is almost your biggest competitor.
Yep, yeah. I mean, we're on a team, but at the same time, everybody has a goal of doing well and being signed and moving on. Back in 2009, there was an opportunity. The Marlins were looking for a middle infielder, and one of the coaches or their scouts had told me if I was doing well, I could have been signed. That was the year that I was coming back off knee surgery, and I think I was hitting 167 or something. So again, it was just another opportunity missed, but I always believe that everything happens for a reason, and now I have my dream job.
Yeah, so we'll get into that. What were some of the challenges you faced bringing baseball to Lambton College?
Challenges, and it wasn't really what I brought. James Grant and John Farragher and Greg Stewart, they did a lot kind of outside of what I do, but the challenge is just you got to prove that you can be competitive in the league. So the challenge with baseball is the season's in the fall, so you have to be competitive and play other teams, but not many other teams want to play exhibition games during the season because you're kind of taking away innings on, players could get hurt or whatnot. But they went down to, I think, Oshawa a couple of years ago and played, and I think they split the doubleheader. I was playing back years, so I never went, but that was kind of how it just showed that we were able to play. Sarnia has always been a hotbed of baseball talent. A lot of players have gone on to play collegiately in the States. So we're hoping this pandemic is done. Unfortunately, this year, but we had a few good recruits coming in for this coming fall. So that they will be around for the next season.
Yeah. So with Lambton College baseball, what type of opportunities do you think the baseball team could bring for students who want to work inside the operations side of baseball?
Yeah. Opportunities are endless. As I mentioned a lot of times in classes, the analytics portion is where a lot of students should try to be focusing right now, and that's through all sports. Just because the numbers are becoming so prevalent in baseball, and I think that's kind of where numbers have really started to show, and that's where all these crazy shifts are happening. And I remember they put up a graphic one time. Like, I understand the numbers, but I was like, for me as a hitter, if they wanted to shift me that way, I would just hit it the other way. Now, not all hitters are like that. They have their own approaches, and they are what they are. Justin Smoke was the one that I loved with the Jays. Dead pull hitter, they always shifted him, and he would just hit it into the shift, or he'd hit it through the shift. when I saw a graphic come up and was one of the players, and 80% of the time he hit it through this one hole, and it was like 1% of the time he hit it the other way. So if you think about it, why would you put a player there? The odds are not in the favor that they're going to go there. So with students, I think the analytics is a huge part of baseball. But other than that, there's just little jobs like equipment help, basically anything you can do to show that you care and that you want to be out there.
Yeah, like you said with the statistics part of baseball, I think a lot of that started with Moneyball being a big part of it, showing the on-base percentage versus taking the double for the making sure you take your first pitch. Now, like you said, also for students, just showing they care. Is that the big thing you should preach to students? Because you're a big part of making sure students want to come to Lambton. Like I see you at open houses and all that for Lambton. What's something you would say to a student who walks up to you and asks, what's the sports and rec program about?
Our program, a lot of the times they always ask, what's the difference between your program and another program? And I know about the other programs, but I don't spend a lot of time studying their programs. What I know in our department, in our office, is what we try and do is try and find the best way to get information to the students. I'm a big believer in experiential learning, in that, for instance, a tournaments and leagues course that you were a part of, your term project was you had to come up with a tournament, and now you had to create it from start to finish. Registration, advertisement, planning the event, a schedule, and running the event, contacting coaches, right? What I think we do really well at Lambton and sports practice is the experiential learning. We try to get students out of the classroom. And parents will look at me and shake their head and they say, what do you mean out of the classroom? You're going to school. And I say, in this business, not a lot of people want to sit there and listen to a lecture. Now, mind you, we do that because you need to relay the information. But after we've given them the information, try to get students out and apply that knowledge in a real world setting. The Sarnia Sting is a huge partner for us. A lot of our students go over there and take the information we've given and apply it to what they're doing. And then also the Sarnia Sting can also help teach as well.
Yeah, and you're, as a professor, you're very teach from your own example. What drives you to kind of be that type of teacher? Because not all teachers like to give their own examples. They'll kind of just keep to themselves and just go right from the lecture board and to you. That's it.
I try and take what I wanted in a professor, and again, it's not for everyone. The feedback that I've got from students, and I always ask for constructive criticism. If you don't like something, tell me. But then again, it goes back to the analytics, right? If one student out of 60 says, I don't like this, then I would try and avoid something for that. But I know the majority of students prefer the way I teach. I just try to be approachable, where if a student needs help, I want them to know they can come to see me and I can work with them. I just find that's the best way. And as far as lectures, I like to put up a couple words or a couple sentences on the slide and then talk. And then I will give you my own personal example, because that's how I relate the best. And then I'll ask a student, what do you think? Give me an example of this. And then when they can give me a real life example from their own and it works, then I know they understand the material. If they give me something that doesn't make sense, then I know that we've kind of got to spend a little more time on that. But like I said, if they can say to me an example from their own life that involves what the material I just told, then I think the material is getting into them.
Perfect. What do you think would be your biggest piece of advice to somebody, not even just a student, just anybody who is trying to enter the sports industry?
I'm going to turn that back to you. It's one word. What is it?
Having the online classes didn't help me. I'm not even sure. I would say readiness.
Yeah, be ready and then network. You got to network with Yeah, now you got it.
Yeah.
You got to network, and it's kind of the same as what I said about baseball. You want to be out there and be seen. You never know. Like, we could be playing Fanshawe at our home park, and maybe somebody from Fanshawe comes over and says, "What is that person doing?" "Oh, they're our analytics person," and they say, well, what exactly are they doing? Right? That could open up a door when they graduate. You never know who's watching. I know a lot of our students want to be scouts or GMs of hockey teams, and a lot of our students go to the Sting games. And I always say, just have a conversation with a scout if they're standing there, if they're approachable. I used to work for the Sting, and there was a handful of scouts that I knew I could talk to and just have a general conversation. And then there was another smaller handful that they would barely say hello because they were there for their bit, and that was fine. You kind of understand and read the person how it is. But the biggest thing I can say for students is to network. And if you're at Lambton when things for sports are kind of back to normal, you should have experience in basketball, soccer, baseball, intramurals that are ran. You should have experience in all of those sports and not just playing. You should have experience in scheduling them, just being a part of the events. That will help for sure moving forward.
Perfect. So that's all I have. I'd like to say thank you for coming on, Justin. It means a lot to me. I hope all is well throughout this pandemic. Hopefully next fall we are back in classrooms. Other than that, thank you.
Thank you, Bryce.
All right. Bye.